Oh, that was a great car.
Here we go. Hey everybody, and welcome back to another exciting episode of the VOD Squad, the show where we talk about streaming, devices, content providers, sometimes even cars. But I'm Clyde. Today I am joined by Jimmy Trammell,
Hello, everybody.
Matthew Ross.
Hi.
You sound surprised.
I'm trying to figure out how you stream a car.
You can stream in your car.
Oh, okay.
And Michael Aston,
Hello.
waiting patiently for us to quit screwing around and get this thing going.
Cars. I can talk all day about computers, but
See, I'm the other way. You get me going on cars, and well, you got a little bit of that though, back at CES.
yeah, that's okay. I mean, I don't dislike cars. I don't have a lot to say about them.
Yeah, that's cool. As long as you know what you've got to say and what you don't, because there's a lot of people that think they have a lot to say about things that they don't.
Yep.
Kind of like. Nah, never mind. I was gonna make a joke about this show.
The tangent was you could almost see the tangent forming. It was kind of cool.
No. I mean, so what's going on, guys? It is insanely hot here today.
Hot there? What's hot there? I'm curious.
Humidity is killing me. I feel like I'm back in Virginia.
Right. What's the temperature outside?
I don't know. It's probably only like 85, but it's the humidity.
I'll tell you. That's fine. I believe you. It's just that.
I'll take 120 in California any day over this. It is 87 degrees, and I am dying.
What's the humidity?
Oh, I can't. It doesn't show me. It's got to be in the 80s.
Okay.
St. Paul, Minnesota. Yep, 83 in Florida.
83 in West Palm Beach.
50, you're at 56%.
Okay. Ugh.
So here right now, and that's at 9:15. It's 47%, 91 degrees.
Yeah, so that'd be comfortable.
We've been at about 50% humidity with the temperature's been around 100 most of the day. So yeah, it's a little unpleasant here.
I love my desert. I'll gladly live in Vegas. I hate
Dry
Vegas,
heat,
but I will
breathing.
live in the desert to Vegas adjacent.
Speaking of which, I'm actually getting on a plane tomorrow at about noon and heading out to Las Vegas. Yes.
Hey, just remember when they say whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Not true.
That's just an ad
That's
line.
a slogan.
You can bring some very bad things home from Vegas. They don't stay.
Yes.
So behave yourself.
Yeah. I'm sure I'll pick me up a pair of fuzzy dice or something like that.
No,
Right?
those are the bad things that can follow you home. Oh, Jote Phone says all those hotties. Wait.
Well, today is July 5th, which means yesterday was July 4th. And I don't know if you partied, but we partied. Where we are, there's actually a festival for July 4th, and there were 12,000 people in a big old field partying hard. And I stayed up way too late, and the kids ate too much food. And yeah, I got home midnight and didn't get to bed till 2 in the morning. So I've had a rough day. And
I'd say several watermelons made the ultimate sacrifice as they were combined with large amounts of tannerite.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, good day. I am so glad that you can buy Tannerite pretty much at any sporting goods store. But on that note, should we get into some news?
Sure. This
All
week
right.
we've got to start off with a little note about our actors getting a better deal for when they are making their shows that are ending up on streaming. Looks like the Screen Actors Guild has agreed to a better deal for a bunch of different providers, including writers and the actors. Looks like some of these actors will be seeing up to a 300% increase in what they're going to be paid, which basically means that we're going to see. I don't know how this is going to affect us streaming at the streaming level for us our users. We could see more high-end actors in streaming. We could see a lot crappier shows.
Guess
we could see prices go up.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess we're gonna start to see a decline in content quality as they have to divert more money to the actors and away from the budget of the production. That's just my theory. But it's not going to be across the board. I'm going to say here and there. There's going to be...
I understand why you say that, Clyde, but I don't know. I mean, on one hand, I could see that point, right? But on the other hand, I think they made those arguments back when television came along as well, right?
Yeah. Well, and, one point that they made in there is that they're going to start seeing their residuals within 90 days rather than having to wait for a year. Which, okay, perfect. I'm on board with that. Obviously, you put in the work. You want to see your money as soon as possible, but you shouldn't have to wait a whole year. 300%, up to 300% pay increase. I don't know.
Well, I think it means that they can finally go ahead and get the big actors, right?
Finally.
So I don't think this affects the big actors really. I mean, I think that ultimately where we're at right now is Netflix and the other channels. When they try to bring in a new show, a lot of times they'll spend a significant amount of money for their headline actor or actors, and then the rest of the budget is going to be really conservative, and so they have a harder time getting those. I don't necessarily want to say B-list, but like the A-list supporting people, like the guys that you want to be your supporting cast. Those people they're not interested in streaming right now because of the deals that they get.
This, to me, reads as the Hollywood equivalent to the $15 minimum wage that so many places are trying to push. Where they just said, okay, well, this is the bar where you were paying. Nope, we need to bump it up to here. And it might work out. In some cases, it may not work out. I don't know. And I'm not gonna sit here and say what an actor should or shouldn't be paid because, hey, capitalism, free market. You pay them whatever, but mandatory. I'm always against mandatory anything. So.
Well, so the thing that I would say that I disagree with you on that comparison there, Clyde, is because there already is a place where they can go. It's like you're saying that the difference here is having different minimum wages in different industries. And so right now, actors can they effectively make a set amount of money in television and movies. More or less, you know what you're going to make depending on your experience level in television and movies. Right now, what they're getting paid for the same job doing a streaming show is much lower. And so this is trying to get something closer to parity between what the actors that are not the headline actors are getting paid for their streaming content and their broadcast TV and movie content. And so this is going to get people that, the people that you see in every TV show and every movie, those supporting actors are going to start saying, and actresses are going to say, hey, this streaming job, it's going to pay me close enough to what I would be making over here that I'm willing to sacrifice that job in order to take this one because this sounds like a more interesting show. So right now they have to be willing to sacrifice a tremendous amount of pay to work on a streaming show, and so they're just not getting those people.
Yeah. Maybe. Yeah.
All right. Well, moving on, we have another story this week about HBO coming on a brand new service called Molotov and OCS, which are two that I've never heard of. According to this, apparently it's a European streaming service.
Yeah, it's out of France. I think this may only be pertinent to Europe, but I thought it was kind of interesting in the fact that HBO shows will be showing up with a separate standalone subscription on a device that's not running HBO.
I have a related to the story question, but just curious. It's a French company with a Russian name, Molotov. Okay, that's it. I was just curious if that was accurate.
That's pretty much what I've understood from this. It says OCS has been around for a few years. Orange owns 2/3 of the company, and Canal owns 1/3 of the entity. So, for us U.S. people, this probably doesn't mean anything significant, but I just thought it was interesting that HBO's like, okay, we'll put our programs on a device that isn't an HBO app.
So. Well, you can do HBO through Amazon. Is that correct, or is it still required?
Yeah, but that's HBO Now. But you're downloading the HBO app. Molotov is the app that will have the content. It would be like Molotov. It sounds like their version of, let's say, Crackle.
Well, but if you can watch HBO through the Amazon app, it's the same thing.
But certain HBO titles.
Okay,
it's not
gotcha.
all.
It's not like Stars where you can get it, or all the content straight through the app through the same interface. Okay, because I've not done that. Yeah, so if that's the case,
my understanding.
This is a little precedent, and other services could pick this up, which might be good for other people. Maybe this is them testing those waters, simply as that. So.
Yeah, so it says Molotov users can subscribe for $12 a month, 12 euros a month, and access both live channels and on-demand content. They can also access OCS on all their devices, including any TV that works with Molotov. So it's sounding like Molotov, I guess, would be similar to like Roku or Apple TV or.
Okay, it's a hardware level device. It's not a.
But they show it on Apple iPad and iPhone, so.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I that's why I thought it was an app like Crackle, but yeah, I don't know. I just thought it was interesting.
It is interesting that if it is being allowed for. That a third party to be the interface for the HBO, and this would probably be a test case. W. Scottish One also mentions that HBO Now is only in the U.S., and so this is an interesting way for them to expand outside the U.S. as well. So,
yeah, I think that is the first streaming that I've heard of from HBO. Outside the U.S. I mean, you go out. HBO is worldwide. I mean, you go to almost every country on a cable subscription, you'll see HBO all over the place. But then, but interesting now that even outside the U.S., they're starting to do these standalone streaming services now.
Yeah. All right. Next story is we have U.S. cord cutters watch more Netflix than Amazon, Hulu, and YouTube combined, or as it was written in the show notes today, Netflix is bigger
than Jesus. To completely blatantly rip off the Beatles.
Yeah, hold that graph here just for a second.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, look at that.
And I'm actually surprised that all others is 21%. That's pretty cool, if you ask me.
Which all others are bigger than Amazon Video. I was surprised to see Amazon Video so low, because that's where I put Amazon Video. That's not where other people typically rank it.
I think that one of the interesting things about this article is that how this makes Netflix appear to be so dominant when it comes to streaming services. And in some respects it is. You know, they've got the greatest penetration, as we talked about a couple of weeks ago, and clearly they have by far the largest number of over-the-top viewing hours, or over the streaming viewing hours. But the other thing that this doesn't, the article mentions, that we don't see from these charts and stuff, is that Hulu's actually getting the most hours of viewing per day per user. And so it's, while more people have Netflix, and as a result more people are, more hours are spent watching Netflix in total, people that use Hulu tend to watch more online. They are greater consumers of the product that they're purchasing. So that's interesting to me. I wonder how that works out. And same thing, Netflix in it, on that, YouTube is just barely behind Netflix.
Yeah. Well,
2.2 hours per day versus 2.1. So,
and like they pointed out, the primary reason is simply due to the fact that Netflix has a higher penetration in the US. And while I like these clickbaity kind of articles, I'm always suspicious of anything with these statistics, because I don't know what who was questioned. What was the target market for the questions? So, what was it, an accurate sampling of all users, or was it just like some people that they talked to at the mall that were like, oh yeah, I've heard of Netflix. So.
Yeah.
And the thing is, that's the power and danger of statistics, right?
Yeah.
Like, you've got the information provides a really interesting picture. However, it doesn't necessarily provide a picture that's even remotely representative of the reality. As I mentioned, just by not talking about and graphing that data point of hours per person watched, you don't understand the fact that Netflix doesn't totally dominate what users of the service do. And in fact, they get less viewing than Hulu. So I think that's really interesting. Statistics, you have to have so much information before you can actually get a representative.
But and also, and any good statistician can make those numbers tell whatever story they want.
Oh,
without
certainly.
changing the numbers, they can make it. They can make it support whatever claim they want, and that's the problems with statistics a lot of times.
When I was in school, one of the books, or the book that we used for my stats class, was How to Lie with Statistics.
Yep.
And the whole book talked to you about how to take the numbers that you have and tell the story you want to tell, not the truth. And then, of course, why you shouldn't do that. But it was just like explaining like what the mistakes are that a normal person, like especially like newscasters and stuff like that, the mistakes that they make with presenting statistics and data, so that the story comes out completely skewed, despite the fact that they're showing actual valid information. So,
yeah,
you see that a lot.
Although all that statics bashing said, I will say, I mean, it doesn't surprise me a whole lot that Netflix is going to be leading, right? I mean, look at the history. I mean, Netflix, they had the DVD service, right? They run Blockbuster out of business, right? First of all, and then later came the streaming service, right? And then once they
ran Blockbuster out of business again.
Yeah, exactly. and it wasn't until Netflix started doing that okay, then here came the Hulus, and then Amazon Prime got in on it, and everybody else, right? So, I mean, they've been there in the market and been the leader, all this time already, and are well established, and everybody knows the brand now. So, I mean, it's no surprise that Oh, okay, yeah, people are watching Netflix more than some of the other services. Now, how are they doing it in combined? Do I believe that statistic that combined all the others still don't equal Netflix? I don't know if I buy that really. I mean, that's where I start saying, yeah, I don't know if it's that much skewed, right? I buy the fact that they probably more people watch Netflix than anything else, but I don't know if I buy the fact that it's more than all of them combined.
Yeah, I agree.
So, they did say it was more than all of them combined. This is more than YouTube, Net, Hulu, and Amazon Video, and it's awfully close. Even by that math, it's like a percentage off. So, but okay, I think it's interesting, even if this is not exactly accurate, that all others got a fairly high percentage. In fact, all the others added together. Your PlayStation View, all your other ones added up to being the number 2 in this statistic. But if you don't look at all of the others, number 2, the real number 2 according to this, is YouTube. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's a lot of people still watching YouTube, including me.
I mean, but YouTube has everything that is like. So if you watch a TV show or a movie, you're gonna go to one of those other, YouTube, Hulu, whatever. Anything that's not a TV show or a movie, where do you go? YouTube. YouTube is the everything else category. Yes. And sometimes there are TVs and movies, but I wouldn't recommend going there for those because probably not a good thing.
Yeah.
But
like I watch all of my podcasts. I watch all of my because I don't listen to podcasts. I watch them on YouTube generally. I watch music videos, like just to listen to music at work instead of streaming, Pandora or something like that. I just turn YouTube on and listen to music videos while I'm at work and stuff like that. So, it's probably not a bandwidth efficient way to get my music, but it's not my bandwidth. I don't care.
See, bandwidth is a commodity.
Yeah. I mean, the bandwidth is there. Yeah, the bandwidth is there. It's not wasted by me using it. It's not like my company is running out of bandwidth every day and like, why can't we download these files? Because Mike's streaming again. So.
Well, I think my tablet's over there saying that. Why can't I download these files? Quite streaming again. But no, I agree, and that's the thing. Everybody's got their work path. Everybody's got their way. Like me, podcasts on my phone in my car. I get in my car, I start it up, and they Bluetooth just start playing, and that's the way I like it. I don't want to have to sit down and watch it, but I totally get. But like you were saying, YouTube, I spend a lot of time on YouTube. I wouldn't think I do until I go back and I look at the history and I go, oh, yeah, because I watched this and then I clicked and then I clicked and then I clicked and then I ended up over here and then I realized, crap, I'm under the wrong account. So all of this history is under the VOD Squad. And not Clyde.
I hate that.
And then sometimes I go back and I was like, I know I watched this video, and then I have to remember, oh yeah, it's one of my 4 accounts. But so they don't really want to talk about the YouTube in the room, but that's definitely I'm surprised that it's lower at 18%. I figured it would be a little bit higher.
To answer Joe Phone, it would take roughly a large moving box size cart of floppies to download an episode of
That's not true, because if we had the ASCII version, it might actually fit.
Can we do an ASCII version of this show?
Oh yeah, actually, if you get on your phone, there's a there's a camera called the ASCII Cam. You can take ASCII pictures with your phone.
Aren't you streaming this in? Aren't we recording this in HD though, Clyde?
In theory.
So
I've never actually sat down to figure out how HD it is. We're supposed to be 720 at 30 frames a second.
720p for an hour and 40 minutes
at 30 frames per second.
That's how long we go at 30 frames per second. I'm guessing that's a
I can
box
tell you.
full.
Actually, here, give me a second. I will tell you exactly how big these videos are.
How big are the files? Yeah.
And then divide it by 1.44 megabytes. While
One
Matt-
point. The
We're going to
last,
have this question answered.
Oh, well, that's the 3.5-inch floppy. What if it was the 5 1/4?
the last
Oh,
episode was 1.27 gigabytes. The one before that was 1.6 gigabytes.
So roughly 1,000 of them. So there's your answer. Maybe a box was being too generous.
Imagine if it was the 5 1/4.
What's the difference between a box and a carton?
Yeah. All right. Sorry,
Okay.
Matt. Where are we going now?
Well,
So
you
we're
know
actually-
what? You know where Hulu's going.
Well, it's interesting. We have a whole bunch of international stories for this week. Obviously, for all of our international listeners, new Hulu nabs U.S. streaming rights to Teenage Ballerina series from Find Me in Paris, which it's apparently a time traveling ballerina, and seems like quite the interesting show. It's interesting that this is
She also dances on the edge of a roof, apparently.
Well, that's what ballerinas do, isn't it? So
Ballerina on a hot tin roof.
yeah. So this looks like it's been picked up and for its streaming rights in the U.S., but this has a show that has been in France and other countries. So.
Yeah, it says it's already been acquired by France, or televisions, France, Disney in France, Italy, and Germany, and then also ABC in Australia. So Stranks and Truckster and all you Aussies, you can watch it on ABC. But if you like ballet and you live in the US, Hulu, they got you covered. It's coming. I know a lot of you are out there going, there's just not enough ballet. Drama, comedy, live, there's just not enough ballet. So now those people can stop complaining and just watch it on Hulu.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Well, we have one more story for us. Well, maybe not the last story, but we have another story about Roku and how its sales have been banned in Mexico because
They're mad because they don't like to re-import devices that were made in the company. They're like, we made this and shipped it away. Why are you bringing
don't want
it back?
No, it's because of the ongoing courtroom drama about the fact that the Roku has an open system that allows you to create test channels. And those test channels have been used by people to create not pornographic, but possibly pornographic, but definitely pirated streams that are being streamed online for free. And so the ruling of the court is, well, until Roku fixes this, we're banning the sales of these in the United States, in Mexico. So,
I mean, if you want a really in-depth conversation about this, they've already done it on Cord Killers. The one thing that I've got to add is this is just stupid. And yeah, I understand it's at the government level that they made this decision, but it's not Roku's fault. I mean, they've got their system to allow to make it easy for people to streamline app creation. And I think they're doing it right. And they are diligent in the fact that they will take down stuff that they know about. It's not like they created this thing and said, hey, have at it. Somebody found people will always find a way to do something bad with perfectly legitimate devices, and it's not the device's fault.
I mean, the trick here is that not only does the company, I mean, this, like you said, this is for developers. It's an assist for developers. As a software developer myself, this is a great feature. It's not a bad thing. Some people take advantage of it, right? Mm-hmm. They create illegal software or software that makes it easy to do things that are illegal, and then people can download it. But the thing is that it's not like it's in the Roku store. Roku has no active involvement in this at all.
Nope.
So you have to know that software exists. You have to have my guess is either the specific name or even maybe a fingerprint or something like that of the software, so you can download it.
It's probably a link. You just have to have a link to the thing. But
it's something where, in order to get to that, you've actively sought out a way to get this pirated content. And if Roku doesn't provide it in this way, then people are going to find other ways to get it. It's not like there's no other ways to get pirated content on the web.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm just saying, maybe there's a few other ways.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, and I mean, Bad Weave points out, I mean, it's a lot like the gun control argument, because the apps it's what users do with the tools they have, not the tools themselves. You don't ban the Roku because people were using it badly, or because a few people are using it badly. And, when you look in the big picture, well, I mean, what percentage of all Roku users? I honestly, wasn't even aware of this until the story came out the other day. And, I would not consider myself a Luddite. And, so if I wasn't aware of it, I mean, how many people are actually utilizing that, right?
But, correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't this kind of come to light because they were pirating, streaming, like international football is what it was?
I'm sure that was the focus. It was one of the channels that decided that this was going to be where they wanted to stop it, and I don't remember which one it was.
Yeah.
So, but one of the channels in Cablevision was the one that said that their content was being stolen, and so Cablevision can argue that there was monetary damage to themselves. So,
of course they can.
How bad was it?
Well, all they got to do is convince the court, and they apparently did that.
Apparently.
So, good
so
for them.
I have a great solution for Roku, but that's my opinion. Roku in Mexico require your developer to whitelist the account that is going to be allowed to use the stream. No, don't fold. Just go out. It's
not worth it to Roku to kowtow to them, because then they open the door.
Yeah, this is an example of a government that, and as is pretty much all governments, being run by people that don't understand the technology in which they're making laws over. This is absurd, and anybody in the tech industry would probably tell you the same, or the vast majority of people in the tech industry would tell you the same. And for Roku to capitulate to this request to make adaptations to accommodate Mexico would be just like Clyde said, just inviting other countries to use those kinds of rules, where then now they've got a different version of the software for every single country they're going into to accommodate the new laws and rules and regulations that have been put in place. Just say, fine, you don't want us in Mexico. It's, it's a few $1 million or $30 million of potential revenue, but Mexico is not that big of a market for us to lose.
And the problem is,
a normal state.
It doesn't do anything about the devices that are already being used. They don't just stop working. It's like saying, hey, Ford vehicles are being used to run over children. Ford is no longer allowed. Well, what about all the people that already own Fords that are using them to run over children? They're just going to keep doing it, right?
Right.
All you did was just lost revenue. You cut off a revenue stream, and those people are still going to keep doing exactly what they were doing.
So now there will be this black market for Roku devices.
If you live in Mexico and you need a Roku, let me know. Might be able to work something out.
Just put a little something on the side.
See, they send the white stuff north. We send the black boxes south.
You could just fly them in with your drone, right?
You'd probably use the same people, right?
Yeah, well,
they got to
maybe.
turn around and go back anyway. They just may as well take Roku's with them.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Maybe not.
All right, we have one more story before our main discussion topic for today, which is PlayStation View did a little improvement to the DVR. What happened is that there used to be the case that you would favorite your show on your PlayStation View, and it would DVR your show. And when it was supposed to end, when it was scheduled to end, that was the end of your recording. They've now set it up so it will detect when your show is going past your the end of your allotted time, and we'll keep recording. So no more missed sporting events endings, and no more ending of some type of long kind of awards show because it went over your time. So kind of cool.
The one thing about this article that I don't get is why do they have a picture of HBO? HBO is not the issue that this article is tackling.
I have no idea, but that was the choice of the editors at Cord Cutters News.
That was the thing that kept distracting me from this article, as I kept seeing Westworld. Wait, what? Wait, no. Yeah.
This is a highly sought after feature. This is
absolutely.
a good thing. This is another feather in the cap for PlayStation View. So
Absolutely.
That it is.
So good. Yeah, good for them. I had to explain to a guy the other day. He has a PS4 and he had no idea what PS View was, and he was like, "Well, you didn't pay for cable anymore, and he doesn't get to watch any of the stuff." It's like, well, you could sign up for PlayStation View. You got that PS4 right there. Oh, I only use it to watch YouTube and like Netflix. It's like, so you're already familiar with the idea of streaming,
right?
Just
Yeah.
This, rock on. If you like live, you want to watch live TV and you want to DVR live stuff that could be potentially preempted, now you have a clear winner.
So PlayStation View, it's a cheaper cable.
Yeah.
It really is. Like it with the DVR, especially with these added features, the DVR is functionally equivalent or superior to what you have probably with your current cable subscription. It has not as many, but a fairly good number of channels with a good variety and a fair number of options for add-ons. And, so I love it. I think that this is the way cable TV should have been for the last 10 years. Mm-hmm. And like I said, sometimes I feel like I'm cheating from a cord cutting perspective because I feel like I basically have cable. I'm just only paying $30 a month for it instead of what I was before, which is like 80 or something like that.
So here's the question though. Is this enough for, are there any other missing features PlayStation View needs for, are people like coveting for this? I know we have the 28-day DVR issue that me and I'm not exactly a big fan of, but other than that, is there anything else this thing needs?
The thing is that, go ahead.
Yeah, well, is a question to you, Michael. How about because I know you use it, you subscribe to it. How about the on-demand content on PlayStation View?
It's pretty comparable to most of the other services, from what I can tell. There's a decent amount of on-demand. My kids can watch, Disney Junior or whatever on their tablet through the subscribe option, and there's a fair number of those. The thing that I think that's really interesting and really cool is that you have this functionality they call catch up, which is basically anything within the last 7 days that you want to watch. You can kind of scroll forward and back 7 days. Forward to set something to record and add it that you want it, and back you can go back and actually say, I want to watch this. And even though it's not a favorited show, that you don't DVR by saying like, I want to record this. You DVR by saying, this is my favorite show, or one of my favorite shows, and it just remembers that show. So you can go back to, say, Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. You see that it was an Austin thing, so I'm in Austin. I would be interested in watching that. And I can just go back and watch it. Yeah, I can't skip the commercials because it's not DVR'd, but it's there. And even though I never told it anything, it'll let me watch something that I missed by 4 or 5 hours or even a couple days.
Yeah.
I think that's a cool feature. And that's where, like I said, this is as good or superior to what you've been getting with your cable subscription.
Yeah, I would go on demand over DVR well, actually, I have already done that by the fact that my TiVo sits there empty because I watch all the content that my TiVo would record on Hulu.
Right.
You know, but and at least in Hulu I've got the commercial-free plan, but still, I also watch what the other shows on AMC and FX and whatever that I could theoretically have recorded on my TiVo. But you know, if you're in for, if you know, live viewing and DVR is important to you, which it is to many people, you have a clear winner at this point.
Okay, well, the quick poll, the chat room has basically said change the name.
Oh yeah.
Get rid of, remove the location lock so you can watch a lot of your stuff outside of your location, and the 20. Well, partially they've done that, yes, and remove the 28-day limit on the DVR. I think if they did those things, and also of course get me my local channels. But
the thing about the 28-day limit, and this is the trick here, is that they don't have a number of hours limit. Like a lot of the other services have an hours or a size limit. By not doing that, like I can add as many shows as I want, and I just don't get the 20. I only get 28 days. I can't do like whole seasons of every show on TV. So it's a practical compromise, right? So they're saying instead of artificially limiting you on size, we're going to artificially limit you on the duration that you can remember stuff. I prefer it, but I can understand why some people might not.
Right. No, it's getting better.
Yeah, and I'll talk about that size or the length, or you're talking 28. I can't even think of the right word. The limit to how long before you can, or until it goes away.
Right.
I ran into that it was just driving me crazy with AMC the other day. So that'll be rants and raves.
I had a couple of shows where I missed the first episode as a result of that, and I was a little bit annoyed. And I was like, "Where's the first episode?" And I was like, "Oh wait, that's 4 episodes, 1 a week. The 5th episode, I missed it. I was too slow."
You missed it.
Yeah, and that is absolutely unexcusable. That is ridiculous, especially if you want people to get into a show that either is on its 2nd or 3rd season or is a couple weeks in.
Yeah.
People are not going to invest their time and jump into something that's already going because, if they can't go back.
It's a problem that that everybody has to address. Like, how do we determine how we're going to let people interact with this content? We can't. The companies, the production companies are not going to just allow wholesale, unlimited access to all the videos that have ever been produced by them for any length of time. And that's where, you've got the PlayStation View, which is saying you can basically watch anything produced within the last 28 days. As much of it as you want, we'll let you save it. Other companies are saying, we'll let you store as much as however much you want, as long as it doesn't exceed 100 megabytes or 10 terabytes or a terabyte or whatever. And it's a compromise. You're going to have to compromise somewhere, because the production companies are not going to say, yeah, sure, they can save every episode of Game of Thrones for as long as they want, however much they want. That's what our on-demand is for. If they want that, they have to come to our on-demand channel. And most of them don't provide that through on-demand. HBO happens to be one of those few, and that's mostly because they're a premium.
All right. Let's move into our main topic, since we're getting close to the end. Not a huge deal, but back at CES, Mike and I took a look at a bunch of new TVs that we reported on. There's a bunch of new TVs coming from TCL. As many of you know, TCL had launched last year a line of 4K TVs with Roku built in that were super cheap and pretty good. I believe Brian Brushwood still has one of the 4K ones that he uses as his main monitor and TV in his studio. The P series is what is coming here soon. They are technically, this isn't the top of the line, and this is it's going to be a step up from the existing what you would call budget line, right?
Right. The mid tier.
Yeah. So this would be more of a mid-tier competitor for your major brands, LG, Samsung. And from what I saw, they were gorgeous. I mean, I don't remember. What did you think, Mike, about the new TCLs, the P series?
I agree. I think that they're very comparable in quality to, they were very close to Samsung. So I remember walking back and forth between the Samsung booths and the TCL booths. They were, they weren't too far away. And I remember thinking, this is as good as what you're getting in the Samsung monitors.
Oh yeah.
Now there were higher end Samsungs, like their super ultra mega ones that they charge their premium price for, and the same with LG. Like, it wasn't as good as the LG OLED, but they were outstanding for an LED monitor. They were absolutely as good as the mid tier Samsung, or even getting into the bottom tier, bottom of the upper tier of Samsung. And so image quality is very good.
Even with their existing line, their budget line, they're amazing. And, I can't see a reason, you can get a 50-inch 4K TV with Roku built in for $350. Why would you spend more money for a comparable TV, or like $700 for the same size Samsung 1080p?
Right.
Why would you do that? Yeah, this one is technically a budget, but no, it just, the newer ones give you a slightly better looking bezel. It's got a little bit more eye on the physical design. They do support HDR and Dolby Vision, and it looks like the range, the prices have finally been announced. So the prices will range $500 to $700. So I think like the 55 that was shown here went for like $60 or $650. But I don't know if anybody else has played with these, but
let me ask you and Michael a question. How thin are these TVs from the profile?
Oh, they're not going to be like super thin. They're, I'd say, modern LED TV. So what, half an inch?
Yeah, I mean,
like that.
Still half an inch. That's pretty slim.
They were comparable to what you're seeing out of LG and Samsung in that upper mid tier. I mean, that's the thing where this really sets itself apart, is they're priced like the budget tiers of the top sellers, and they perform like their upper mid tiers. They are producing impeccable image quality, impeccable like color contrast and color reproduction, and yet look, feel, design, weight, everything is comparable, and yet they're coming in at budget prices. So this at $650 is priced like last year's LG, that's going off of that's their lowest end model right now, that's going off of the shelves, and that's not going to be sold anymore. So that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you want to read the actual review, this guy goes in depth with one of these new TVs. The link will be in the show notes. I kind of rolled my eyes a few points during the review, just because He's obviously does not like Roku as a platform because it looks exactly the same as it did 3 years ago. It is so dated and not worth it. Well, no, that's kind of one of the good points of Roku is it looks exactly the same as it always has. Nothing's changed. My dad can use it.
I'll agree. I'll agree with him on this one. I feel like Roku does look dated, but
that doesn't make it not worth using.
Yeah, that doesn't make it.
No, that was his point. His point was don't bother using it because it looks old and dated. Spend money on like a Fire TV or a NVIDIA Shield. And number two, who tells someone to buy a NVIDIA Shield? That is like that like your notoriety is out the window because
somebody somewhere had to recommend it at some time.
No, the NVIDIA Shield for a niche market. It's made for a niche market. You don't tell someone, okay, get this TV. You can save a bunch of money, but you're going to go out and spend another $350 on this NVIDIA Shield that you're going to, it doesn't have even as...
And pay extra for the remote.
Well, you know why he's got it in the article, Clyde, is probably because he bought one. Right?
Oh, yeah. But that's what I was saying. The guy, when reading the review, he obviously has issues setting his own personal, opinions aside, and But that's all I was saying. Just keep that in mind when you read it. It's definitely worth checking out. I can't wait to see these, especially since the existing ones that I want are going to be clearanced and heading out the door for next to nothing.
So these are TCLs will show up on Walmart shelves, which means they won't have read this review at Gizmodo very likely.
No.
So they're going to look at this and go, it's that good for that cheap? Sure, I'll buy it.
Oh,
So
yeah.
these are going to sell like hotcakes.
Back, like a couple days before the Super Bowl, I was walking through Walmart and dude stopped me and he went, hey, you know anything about TVs? It's like, yeah, a little bit. And he's like, well, I'm looking at like this $800 thing, but then like this other one was like $900. He's like, what should I said that TCL over there, you're gonna like spend half the price. He's like, but all I want is I gotta get a Roku. I was like, oh, it's already got a Roku built in.
Yeah.
Oh, do I need to worry about an antenna? I was like, I don't even think it has a tuner. He goes, oh, for like $400, and it was a 60. I think it was like a 55 or a 60 inch, and yeah, he walked off with that. But he was already, just because people shop by name. They're like, well, I don't know anything about these TVs, but I've heard of this brand, so it must be worth $400 more because I've heard of it. Which a lot of times that may be true, but this is one of those cases where, just like Hisense a couple years ago, they don't have brand recognition in this country because they have previously TCL and Hisense and all these brands have previously never been sold here. So you can't just walk into a market with a premium product. You're not going to sell much because people are going to ignore you. So if you just, get them to forget about the brand by seeing that it's a super low price, and then you get that. That's how you build your name recognition.
I think that they've succeeded in making their brand better than the super crap brands. I think they've got to elevate themselves above that.
That's
so because of that, and you and me and everybody else and say, is TCL good? And we all say, it's actually really good for the money. People will buy it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, like I said, that was the thing with it. It's Hisense. You could get a 32-inch Hisense TV for $120.
I'm sorry, I don't put Hisense above. I still put a pretty far below the TCL brand.
Hisense has been great, and through the years, they've been able to steadily increase their prices as the name recognition has increased. Yes, has every single one of their products been great? No, just like any company, they've had some manufacturing issues, but for the most part, their stuff has been stellar. I got my parents have one of their TVs at home, and it's that I got for them, and it's gorgeous. My kids have one in their bedroom, and yeah, but I mean that if you don't have the name recognition, that's how you gotta build it.
And incidentally, if you go to their website, it's tclusa.com, right? You can see the new P series that they got up for sale there.
Well,
Yep.
are you guys?
Go ahead.
So, I mean, is anybody in the market for a TV and looking at the TCL seriously as a good option?
I am.
Okay. And so
I am in the market for a 4K television, and I will consider them. I mean, I usually buy a little higher end television when I do buy one. But hey, hearing you guys talk about it, I mean, I've at least got to go look at it and consider.
And like at the price point, it may not end up being exactly what you want for the living room, but it may make the perfect, office or second TV someplace else, and that will depend on the person.
Definitely I think for a second television, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I'm saying. It's worth, it's priced at the point you can afford to take the risk.
Right.
And most of the places that if you're gonna have a problem, you're gonna have a problem pretty soon. And most of the places that you're gonna be able to buy this from have fairly decent return policies. Just keep the box.
Yeah.
Right, Matt?
Yeah, definitely keep the box. Absolutely keep the box. Yes, that's the best advice you could give anybody. Trust me, keep the box.
Keep the box.
Especially if your TV's big. The bigger the more important the box is.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Anybody want to say anything else about this, or are we ready to move on to the rants and raves?
I'll just throw this out there that I agree with him that the Roku interface is dated, and you would be happier with the LG interface. So get the LG TV instead.
The proprietary LG smart TV thing.
So supported by LG. Vodka Squad coming to you by LG. Right now.
What year did you buy your?
It's WebOS, right? And that's the thing that I love so much about the LG TV. The WebOS works really well, and it looks really good, and you get good updates, constant updates for your interfaces and stuff. And I do use the Fire TV, and I also think it's a better interface. But I do agree that your price premium has got to be strongly considered there, especially since if you decide that you don't like it in a year, you can always add a Fire TV for a Fire Stick for $50 or something like that, right? So
no, I was just harping on the fact that his main complaints about the Roku are exactly what I would call its pluses. Those are the reasons I love the Roku. But
the one thing I would say is, if you are interested in getting the TV and you are considering that interface as a part of your decision, go back and watch our episode about smart TVs.
Exactly.
Because I think that one of the takeaways there was that largely what you get from your smart TV is a really great screen and internet connectivity rather than the interface and the software to access the internet.
Yeah.
Because there are definite disadvantages to having that built into your TV. Right. And while some mitigate that disadvantage fairly well, not all of them do. And just because this Roku's on the TV doesn't mean you'll get all of the same Roku updates all of the time and as fast as Roku provides them for their own devices. Now,
actually, as an active beta tester, I can tell you that's not necessarily true.
Oh.
Because these last couple rounds that I've been doing, they were doing across all of the platforms, including the TVs. And they pay extra special attention to the TVs, almost like they're giving it higher priority.
That's good because we've seen other companies in the past neglect their TV service because Samsung's not updating their TV service, or Samsung's not a good example.
That's the only reason why I could get on board with Roku built in as opposed to some random proprietary thing.
But who's supporting that update on that television? Is it Roku or the manufacturer of the television?
Roku is being updated by Roku.
Right.
So, it's part of the same betas that we're doing with all the other hardware. And they're
able to update that to all the specific hardware of all the manufacturers?
Because they build it to a standard. So in order for the Roku, but they set up the standard program a long time ago where if you want it to be Roku ready, it has to meet these specific. So then they started doing the thing where it's like, okay, in order for our hardware to be installed and you sell it as a Roku TV, it must meet these minimum requirements. And I mean, yes, there will come a point where, just like my Roku 4, there's going to be a point where it's not capable of getting some update.
Sure.
The TV's going to be the same way.
Sure.
But that's point down the road. Just throw the new Roku on. On the bright side, you get to control the TV with a Roku remote, which I love the Roku remote. It's my favorite remote. It's the perfect size.
I do like
nice weight. It's just he was bagging on it. He said that the remote was clunky. Or
he complained about the volume buttons on the side, and I kind of thought, like, I haven't used it, but that kind of excites me because I hate, like, on a normal remote, it's so easy to hit the wrong button.
And
if they're on the side, you're never going to miss it.
Yeah, and they're right where your thumb sits.
Yeah.
So you're using it, boom, boom, and then it's just right there. I love this remote.
I always use the smartphone app anyway.
And then the remote, when you turn it sideways, it's a gamepad because you got your A, B, and your up, down. If a lot of people don't realize that, it's like a Nintendo-style gamepad.
I do like the fact that you can plug headphones into it. Right?
Yep.
That's probably the
only problem is I use the headphones a lot, but I like to watch TV as I fall asleep. It's kind of hard to go to bed with headphones on, then you wake up all broken. That's my only complaint. But no, that I didn't.
First world problems.
Yeah, exactly. I always thought it was a stupid idea. I thought
Clark's
the
got headphone hair because he slept with his headphones on last night. Oh
no,
man,
it's like headphone face. You got this like giant hickey thing with it. Like, what the hell? But yeah, no, it's a super awesome idea. I didn't think I would actually ever use that. It's one of those things that you just kind of go, oh, huh. I never really thought about it, right? But it's now one of my favorite parts. So, all right. Anything else?
We should move on.
Okay. Let's wrap this up quickly. Rants and raves. Jimmy, why don't you go?
All right, I'll go ahead and start off. I am continuing to subscribe to the Hulu Live TV service. So I don't know, I'm going to go it another month, just to see if I want to keep this or not. Perhaps I will, perhaps not. The one thing that I'll say, if anybody out there who's interested in subscribing to this service, is that, and especially if you're already a Hulu subscriber, the one thing you get there is that you get a lot of on-demand content added to it. So, for example, like say if you like to watch HGTV, the Golf Channel, CNBC, ESPN, and you want to see shows that come on those channels on demand, then it makes it well worth the price, I think. And I'm that kind of viewer, right? That fits well with how I like to watch television. So not so much of streaming it live and all. Matter of fact, I don't think I ever do that, hardly ever, right? So it's always on demand, and this increases the on-demand content there quite a bit. I would say for me, it's almost borderline if it's really worth the price or the extra price or not. But being as I'm already a Hulu subscriber, and it's just maybe like $30 more, really, is all it is per month. So for that price, yeah, I'm probably going to keep it at least for a while. So there's that. I finished Bloodline. The one thing I'll say is it's a 3-season series. The first 2 seasons are strong. The third one is good, but not as strong as the first 2. There toward the end, it kind of seemed like they were kind of hunting for a way to end the thing. But the first 2 seasons were great, though.
I've been trying to watch it, and I'm having so much trouble getting into it. It's just, I think, too much family drama for me.
Yeah,
and I'm just like, don't like a single character that they've shown me like 3 episodes in. Like,
You don't even like the Black Sheep brother?
It's just something about the writing style that just kind of I know, like, my ex-wife, she would have loved that show. It's it's starting to remind me of a couple of the shows that I was forced to watch through the years, which may color my viewing. But it's one of those shows that's gonna probably be in my queue, and I'll watch it slowly. Sure. Going forward, but I can't say I've got it at up towards the priority.
Yeah,
I'm just having trouble getting into it. Maybe there will be a point where I'll get in and just be sucked in.
Yeah, I mean it is. I mean, I agree with you. It's not one of those shows. It's not going to make your top 10 list, right? It's not that kind of show, right? But it's just a worth watching kind of thing, right? So something that's a Netflix original. And I would just put it on a worth watching kind of thing.
Was it a Netflix original?
It is a Netflix original, yes.
Okay.
It is. Yeah. And then, so some other shows I'm watching, The Deed, which is a CNBC show. Also another CNBC show called The Prophet. I'm watching that one as well. I like both of those shows. Those are kind of reality type shows, but they're entertaining to watch. And then a couple other shows that I just recently started. One is called The Shooter, right, on Netflix, and the other one is Glow.
Glow was really good.
I watched the first episode of that the other night, so that was pretty good too. Not for kids, Matt and Michael. I know you got small kids. Right?
If you enjoy the Glow TV series, there is also a documentary that was made a couple years ago about Glow that I recommend watching. It was really cool because I burned through the new show, and then Netflix suggested that documentary, and it was fun, and it was fairly short and to the point, and it was cute. And
good. I'll have to add that.
Yeah, and you get to see you hear the real story, and meet a lot of the real people now, or as they are now, and it check it out. It's
okay.
I think it's
I'll do it.
Real gorgeous ladies of wrestling or something like that, maybe.
Right.
Very cool. I'll go next. I have a bunch of little things I want to talk about, but real short and brief. Start with last week tonight, this last weekend's episode of that. had a big discussion about Sinclair, the media group, and it's getting really big and it being really conservative. And they pointed out specifically a Seattle channel called Como and how they are doing some pretty cool tricks to get around this kind of interesting editorial nonsense that's going on. And so I just wanted to say congratulations to Como, because I've watched Como off and on every once in a while, and guess what? I didn't know that this was happening at all. I was completely blind to this. So good job, Como. You did a good job hiding it from me. So that's good. So if you watch that episode, you'll find it. You'll know what I'm talking about if you have no idea what I'm talking about. Second of all, I've been ranting and raving about the fact that there are no channels that are in the Seattle area. I went back and did a little research. Hulu just picked up CBS in Seattle. PlayStation Vue just picked up the Fox channel in Seattle, and apparently DirecTV has had Fox since April, and apparently PlayStation Vue has had CBS since December. So, yay, Seattle! And last but not least, people have been asking for me to get a Twitter account. I can now tell you guys I have a Twitter account.
Oh.
It's Talking Nerdy, but it's spelled TLKNNRDY.
Nice.
It's in the chat.
Yes, somebody just spammed it. Wow. Thanks, Clyde.
Hey, I want to make sure they didn't miss it.
Yeah. So one thing I want to follow up on your last week tonight.
Yeah.
Because while I did enjoy this episode, I want to give a shout out to the week prior's episode. If you have any questions about vaccines, or you are wholly on board with getting people vaccinated, you'll find it hilarious and funny and a great show to watch. If you question vaccinations and stuff like that, you might want to watch it as well. It's an excellent episode about vaccines and the value that they provide. And that's all I'll say, but watch it. It's absolutely outstanding. The vaccination episode 2 weeks ago.
Oh, okay. Good.
All right. And then, Mike, you had something else?
Yeah. I recently have some friends start a D&D group, so I've been playing D&D again. So checking off offline. It's been, I think, maybe 15 or 20 years since I legitimately played D&D with people, and oh man, I love it. It's a lot of fun. And that's also made me start watching, getting to the streaming part of this, Critical Role from Geek and Sundry, which is absolutely outstanding. If you enjoy fantasy related stuff, if you enjoy D&D, or if you just like listening to people be hilarious and ridiculous, then you should definitely check it out. If you aren't familiar, Critical Role, it's a Geek and Sundry show, which is a YouTube channel. And basically it's a bunch of voice actors, people whose voices you might recognize, whose voices you almost certainly have heard on cartoons, TV shows, video games, and stuff like that, but probably don't know who they are. But they are really talented voice actors, and they make it really enjoyable to watch them play D&D. They all have the voices for their characters, and they sit at the table. They don't really act it out, but boy, they bring it to life in a really amazing way. And it's D&D the way everybody wishes their D&D sessions could be. Totally worth watching.
Did you ever watch Harmon Quest?
I have never watched
CISO?
Harmon Quest. It's on my list of things to watch.
Yeah, see, before I got completely sick of Harmontown, which is a completely different story. That used to be my favorite part of the show. I'm not into D&D. I don't play, never really been interested. But when, I always found it amusing the way they would do it. So the Harmon Quest show seemed interesting. But then I never went to go watch it for other reasons. Partly because I can't bring myself to give CISO any money. But yeah, no, that's out there. If you like that, you'd probably enjoy the Harmon Quest as well. All right. Well, I'll keep it quick because, I've talked about this over and over about, AMC is one of my biggest annoyances. their streaming service, stuff not being available, like I was, you and I were talking, or kind of alluding to earlier. I missed the season or the series finale of Hell on Wheels because I didn't know the season was up and streaming until 5 days before it was going to be torn down. Even though I binged as hard as I could, I watched all but the last. I went to watch the last episode. As it was loading, it said, "Oh, this is no longer available."
Oh.
I had to wait for them to put it up on Netflix before I could watch the final episode, like 6 months later. You know, which is ridiculous for a show that is completely done. Right? Well, this week, I'm trying to watch Preacher. I go in early in the week, and it says, new episode, 129 days left. Full episode. I click on it, it says, oh, this episode is not available. You go out, it says, full episode, available now, 129 days left. You go into it, no, it's not available. So, consistency, people. Which then...
Hey, it sounds like they're being really consistent.
Yeah, I mean, consistent about just ridiculous. Yeah, and they drive me nuts. But then Sci-Fi, went over to Sci-Fi the other day, saw that there is a new season of Killjoys. Well, I never caught up on Killjoys, so I figured, hey, perfect time. On the main page, it says Killjoys. Watch every episode ever. You go in there, there's only one episode available. Episode 1 of season 3. The one that just came out a couple days ago. It's like,
that's useful.
So what does watch every episode ever mean? If you're only going to let me watch the newest episode.
It's like CBS All Access.
Yeah.
CBS. A little bit of access.
But the thing is, all the episodes were there previously. Because that's how I started. I'd never heard of the show until a few months ago. And I watched through season 1. And it's been kind of I've got nothing else to watch show. If you've watched Killjoys, you know it's not the greatest show, but it's, it's okay for filler. It's the kind of thing you throw on, or you sit through when you're waiting if it's bookended by shows you actually want to watch. It'd be like the thing that would come on between Stargate SG-1 and Battlestar Galactica, otherwise known as Stargate Atlantis. You sit through it to get to, because it's... But, all right, but no, that was just my thing. It's like AMC and Sci-Fi. I just wanted to...
AMC is just not swing and a miss for you, isn't it?
Oh, it's the only way I can access that content, but their service is just so bad. And yet AMC's the one that this week announced that, you can pay $5 extra for no commercials. Yeah, but I still can't watch the back catalog.
And you have to be a Comcast subscriber right now.
Well,
yeah, you got to be a cable subscriber.
I've got the Xfinity credentials, but
okay.
But yeah, the commercials are annoying. Yes, but the fact that they will not, and they're constantly harping, oh, you've never watched this show? Catch up. Come watch. And you can't catch up. You can't do it. You can only watch the most recent episodes. Especially for something like The Walking Dead. There is nobody that's going to jump into The Walking Dead now because of a streaming thing. There's like 6 freaking years of past episodes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can go to Netflix.
Can't watch on
You can watch it on Netflix.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you want to watch Walking Dead, you watch it on Netflix, right?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
You just gotta stay a season behind on Netflix. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
maybe you could get caught up that way, like combine Netflix and AMC's on demand, and maybe you'd get there. But
it's annoying.
that's just a pain. Just wait till it's over. 5 years from now, watch it. It'll feel fresh and new and exciting, and it'll be good, and you'll be stoked about it.
Yeah,
that's how I do it. I watch stuff that's been off the air for a while.
Or Clyde, he'd look at him. He's defeated. He's so sad. Just like done.
Well, and the worst part is, like we talked about last week, this is the point where I almost have nothing to watch. And so Preacher came back. And it's like, sweet, I can watch Preacher. No, I can't watch Preacher because AMC won't let me. And yeah, so it's just frustrating. I need something new that I can watch, I guess. All right. Anything else? Anybody? No.
No, we're good.
All right. Well, thank you so much for hanging out. Had a good time. Thank you guys in the chat room. Remember to get those, get on over to showbot.tv and vote on the title for this week's episode. We will be back next Wednesday, as we are every Wednesday, 9 p.m. Central on Diamond Club TV. Past episodes you can find on YouTube. Just look for The VOD Squad. Please subscribe. And on the 15th, July 15th, will be the next movie party. The poll is currently up. If you go to Twitter at DC Movie Party, vote. The theme this month is America. And the 4 movies that I thought scream America would be Team America, Death Race 2000, Buckaroo Banzai. I mean, the dude's a surgeon, a rock star, and a secret agent. You can't get much more American than that. The president calls him on his direct line. And the movie that just oozes America, Cool as Ice, starring Vanilla Ice.
Oh my god!
Oh my.
Hasn't that been on the list before?
It has. It's one of my favorite. I didn't vote for it this time though, because, but I actually watched part of that movie get filmed, so it's always been kind of because they filmed it in Glendora, California. So as a kid, I was around for a lot of the principal shooting, but no, it's just it's a fun movie if you watch it through the lens of today. It is so absurd that it is absolutely hilarious in ways it wasn't intended to be. So, yeah, go on out to at DC Movie Party on Twitter, vote for what we want to watch, and then we will, if we got 2 movies that are short enough, then maybe we'll do a double feature. So, vote for whatever you want, and we'll figure it out. Otherwise, okay, guys, thank you.
Have a good night.